If she doesn't miss you, she will never love you. I want you to take a trip back in time with me and recall that man who once lived in a cave. If you've been following the How to Attract Women series, you already know that despite living in the modern era of technology, our brains remain wired just like those of our caveman ancestors. So, if we rewind time and bring to mind that cave-dwelling man, we will see that he often disappeared for long stretches to go hunting and gather food. During his absence, his wife would wait for him, and in that waiting period, she would begin to miss him. This very feeling of longing is something that women over time have developed, and it is a fundamental element that must exist in any relationship, even from the very beginning. Also, if you've been keeping up with this series, you're already aware that women are deeply emotional beings. If you want a woman to become attached to you, you need to cultivate specific emotions within her. Among these emotions, one of the most crucial is the feeling of missing you. Whether you're in a relationship with her or not, she must experience this longing. And in today's video, I'm going to explain exactly how to make that happen. Let's begin by addressing one of the most common mistakes people make, assuming that in order to make a girl miss them, they need to completely cut off all communication. Before preparing this video, I took the time to search YouTube for advice on how to make a woman miss you, and I found that nearly all the videos emphasize the no contact rule. The idea is that you should stop reaching out to her entirely, even refraining from posting on social media. Let me tell you, my brother, that is absolute nonsense. If you blindly follow the no contact rule without applying certain strategies that I will reveal in this video, you can be sure that she won't miss you at all. In fact, she may not even remember you. So, the real question is, how do you make a girl miss you the right way? The feeling of missing someone consists of two key phases. The first phase occurs when you are with her, whether on a date or simply having a conversation. This is when your interactions and communication style should be crafted in a way that will make her miss you later. The second phase happens when you are not physically present. For both of these stages, I will provide you with practical techniques that you can start using immediately. I'll begin with the simplest concept and gradually build upon it. The first time I learned about this principle was during my time at university when I was studying psychology. I became particularly fascinated with marketing psychology and conducted research on how to imprint a brand into a customer's mind. Through this research, I discovered a crucial idea, one that applies not only to marketing but also to relationships. One of the most effective ways to embed a brand into a customer's memory is by linking it to their senses. For example, if you want a brand to be associated with the sense of hearing, you need to repeatedly use a specific phrase or a unique word that no one else commonly uses. This phrase then becomes the brand signature, something that automatically comes to mind whenever the customer hears it. Similarly, for the sense of sight, using a distinct color as the primary branding element or adopting a recognizable visual style can create an immediate and lasting impression. Whether it's through advertisements, logos, or product designs, this distinctive visual identity makes the brand stand out. The key here is consistency. Creating something unique and repeating it often, ensuring that it is strongly tied to one of the senses. And the more senses you engage, the more powerful the impact. Now, let's apply the same principle to women. And by the way, this technique isn't limited to attracting women. You can use it to leave a lasting impression on anyone. But how exactly do you do it? Listen closely. All you need to do is incorporate something distinctive into your personality, something that sets you apart not only when you're around her, but in your daily life as well. This might sound simple, but trust me, you cannot even begin to imagine how powerful it is. For example, instead of greeting people in an ordinary way, create a signature greeting, perhaps with an unusual phrase or a unique tone. Choose a specific fragrance and wear it consistently so that your scent becomes part of your identity. People will recognize you just by your smell. You can also add a distinctive accessory to your wardrobe, perhaps a unique ring or a signature item of clothing that makes you stand out. Personally, I have always worn a white ring on my pinky finger, and you can try something similar if you want. However, for me, standing out was never a conscious effort. It happened naturally due to living in a different culture after migration, which made me unique in many ways. If you're interested, I can make an entire video on this topic. Let me know in the comments if you'd like that. But for now, here's the takeaway. Find ways to make yourself unique. Now, let's move on to the next crucial point. How to end a conversation or a date. If you've been following this series, you'll already know that the best moment to end an interaction is when the conversation is at its peak, when you and the girl are enjoying the best moments together. This is a principle I always emphasize, but today, I will explain how to apply it in a practical way. Because let's be realistic. You might manage to end the first date at just the right moment, but sometimes you could find yourself in a long conversation without an obvious point at which to wrap things up. So, how do you ensure that you always leave the conversation at its peak? The key is to leave her wanting more, so that she doesn't want the interaction to end. The final 10 minutes of the conversation should be highly enjoyable for her. But how do you create this effect? There are two approaches, the hard way and the easy way. Let's start with the hard way. If you sense that the conversation or the date is coming to a close, try making her laugh. If humor comes naturally to you, this might not be too difficult. However, the challenge with this method is that humor is not always predictable. You can't force someone to laugh on command. That's why I don't recommend relying solely on jokes. But if you find that you're both laughing in a particular moment, you can take advantage of it by suddenly ending the conversation with something like, "All right, I have to go now. I have a meeting with a friend. Goodbye." Now, let's move on to the easiest and most effective way to make a girl keep thinking about you after you've left. This method will make you feel as if you have control over her thoughts. But before I explain it, let me remind you of an important rule. Women are emotional beings. They enjoy moments that evoke strong emotions. So, when you're with her and you sense that the conversation is coming to an end, all you need to do is trigger a deep emotional reaction. Then suddenly stop talking. At that moment, her mind will be thrown into confusion, and once you leave, she will continue thinking about you all day without even understanding why. Now, how do you achieve this effect? In this series, I've covered several techniques, but today, I'm introducing a new one, triggering emotions related to either the past or the future.